First things first, bro, I want to commend you for taking action and being here. You DM me for this video, and that being said, I'm about to break down in a presentation exactly when the right time to go all in actually is and what actionable steps you can take so that you're not the same man you are today in 2026. So you can actually fulfill your potential, have clarity, and have the confidence and the life that you want to live. So sit back, take some notes. Let's dive into the presentation. This is something a lot of people struggle with, right? When's the time to go all in on your health, on your goals, and really double down and fully commit into becoming the person you want to become? Because the problem is when you're 1 foot in and 1 foot out and not fully committed, you never see progress, right? So when's the actual time to go all in? And I think this is a good analogy right here. This little hourglass with the sand, right? Let the little bit of sand on top of this hourglass represent the time that we have now and the time that we have left. The bottom is the past. The past is gone, right? The past is gone. The future is unknown. The only thing that you can control is this little bit of sand that you have in front of you. So your sand in your hourglass, it's falling whether you take action or you don't take action. And you can't flip the sand timer. Like time's going to go by, right? But most people pretend like they have unlimited sand. When should I take control of my test? When should I take control of my mindset that I keep slipping away and not focusing? When should I do that? We don't have unlimited sand, right? So what's the answer? It's now, right? Your excuses do not stop the sand. They just waste it. Every time you make an excuse, this sand gets thinner and thinner and time just continues to go. So waiting is the only guaranteed way to lose. And I want to give you this little analogy. Talk about what you're capable of, right? Bob Proctor always says is if you can hold it in your head, you can hold it in your hand, but you have to do it now. I don't know if you guys have ever heard this before. Basically means if you can envision something in your mind, you can have it in the real world. Like I'll do a little kind of like, I don't know what you call this, an exercise with you guys right now. Like think about this. Think about the color red in your mind right now. You could physically see the color red when you think about it, right? Okay, think about the color blue. You could physically see the color blue when you think about it. Now create a color that's never existed before and see it in your mind. You literally cannot because you've never seen it. So if you could only see in your mind things that already exist, why do you have visions of you being in better shape? Why do you have visions of you being a better self? Why do you have visions of you achieving all the things you want in your life? It's because it already exists. It's been given to you. If you could see it in your mind, you can have it. Like, this is Thomas Edison. This is the first light bulb. Look at this crazy thing. People thought he was a nut job saying he's going to create light. But he saw it in his mind. He was persistent and he did it. This is the Wright brothers who created the first airplane. They were bicycle shop workers and they were actually diagnosed as mentally ill. They were going to get locked in a crazy asylum saying that they were going to put a piece of metal in the air. But through persistence, they did it. So anything that you can think in your head, you can have it, right? Your future self is begging you though to stop waiting. Like you can't have any of these things if you're waiting for the right time to take it, whether that's a business you want, a physique you want, your health, whatever it is. And every excuse you make is stealing the life that you could have had. So imagine looking back 1 year from today and absolutely despising yourself for not starting that thing that you wanted to start, right? Motivation, it's not real. You don't want to wait for readiness because readiness is actually created through taking the action you're afraid to take. And many people get overwhelmed with the big plot. There's so many things I have to fix, right? That's not the way to look at things. One habit done consistently is better than waiting for the perfect plan. Let's say you got to fix your health, you got to fix your marriage, you got to fix your test, you got to fix your business. Overwhelming yourself with all these different things leads to inaction. If you could pick one thing and say, what is one thing I can do every day that moves the needle closer, that is much better than sitting around waiting for the right time, right? So don't try and fix 20 things in your life if you have a lot of things to fix. Fix one, because perfection is the enemy. When you try and be too perfect, you do nothing. So showing up is the identity shift. You showing up to one thing, that's the shift, because that's what really shifts your mindset into, I can do anything, right? And your future self is either going to thank you or it's going to resent you. You choose which. Right? So I always give this analogy of you being 90 years old, sitting in a rocking chair, and your grandkid's like, hey, how was your life? You could either say, that shit was crazy, I did everything I set my mind to, or you can say, damn, wow, had all these goals and I did none of them because the right time just never showed up, right? So look at these pictures of me, man. Just look at me. When I was in the mindset of this is the right time, I'm going to wait, and I was overwhelmed and I was anxious, I looked like a bum. I was out of shape, was shot, I was on drugs, I was boozing all the time. I felt like shit. I had an autoimmune disorder. I was just a bum. I was lost. But when I actually just took one simple action, it led from this to over time being this. And me speaking to you on this call right now. I wouldn't be speaking to you if I waited for the right time. So this is why most people are really, really stuck and why I was personally stuck in my life. These were the cycles. There was overthinking, which led to no progress, right? Constantly trying to plan something that never came. Never actually committing to anything, telling myself, oh, I'll do it Monday. Then I would feel behind. And every time I felt behind, I lost more confidence. I lost more momentum. I just kept falling back into the same cycle. Then there was the shame about my body. I was skinny fat at one point. I was pretty fat at one point. And at one point, I was very skinny. I've been them all, right? But the problem was I never had structure. And then I looked worse than I knew I should have. And then I hid away in my hoodies, in my baggy ass shirts, and I didn't feel like a man. And for women, you could just say feminine, right? It applies to both genders, obviously. And then there was my identity conflict. I wanted to be disciplined, but I kept acting like my old self. I didn't change anything. So then I lived outside my potential. I knew I was wasting away my life, but I knew I could be more, hated that I wasn't. So that led me to do what? Be frustrated. What did I do? I went back to the bottle, back to overeating, and I never moved forward, right? And there's the delay loop where you want to change, but then you wait for the right time. And the right time never comes. So then you fall off. And then when you fall off, you beat yourself up. And this just keeps repeating for years. And I went through this for most of my life. And then this was my biggest one. Fear wasted my prime, man. Like I'm 27. So for me, I was always thinking like, damn, am I going to be 30, 35 looking the exact same I look right now? So that was a big fear for me. Right? I was scared personally that women would not respect me, right? If you're a man or a woman, you want respect from your significant other, right? I was scared that if I don't respect myself, they won't. Or scared of being the man who just never figured it out, watching my peers all blow past me, and I'm just that guy who never got it together. I was scared of waking up 5 years later with nothing to show for it, right? This is the fear loops that held me back. But I could have ignored all of them because this is who I was always meant to become, right? For the body, I always wanted to be lean, athletic, aesthetic, low body fat, shoulders, arms, V-taper, which, I mean, you can see, I sure as hell did it, right? That's how I always wanted to be. I wanted a physique that commanded respect. I wanted to fit tightly in my clothes. There's a reason I never wear sleeves, guys. I don't wear sleeves. There's a reason for that, right? I wanted the energy. I wanted to wake up clear, high energy, high mood, no inflammation, clean digestion, just confident, feel good. My identity, I wanted to be a man that my family looks up to. I'm a big family person. I just had my grandparents here for 10 days. I'm big on my family. Like I want to be that example, right? I want to be a man who does what he says. I just want to have that confidence. I want to be in control of my life. I want to be a man with discipline, structure, purpose. These are the things I wanted. A man that woman desires, a man that men respect. These are the things I wanted, right? And the life I wanted. I wanted more success. I wanted more dates when I was single, and when I had a relationship, I wanted a better relationship. I wanted to make the relationship stronger with my significant other. I wanted a better social life. I wanted to be more sociable, but I couldn't because I wasn't confident. I wanted to feel more self-worth, and I just wanted momentum in my faith, in my business, my physique. These are the things I wanted. And I got all of these things when I shifted my mindset from waiting for the right time to fuck it, I'm just going to do it. My chips are on the table. I'm all in. And it all panned out, right? So here's why I kept waiting while some of you keep waiting and why it's destroying you, right? This was my biggest objections with life. I'll start when I'm ready, right? The paradigm of starting when you're ready is that it's fear disguised as logic. When you're about to leave your old self and become your highest self, your old paradigm works like a toxic ex-girlfriend. It knows you're about to leave it and it gaslights you. And it comes in the form of logic. No, don't do it. You'll never feel ready, right? That's what it tells you. But motivation is a lie and it doesn't exist. Readiness comes through action. You take a few steps. Now you got momentum. Now you're ready for more, right? And every day you delay, you betray that version of you, right? Money is tight. Now let me explain what I mean by this. This is really just avoiding responsibility, right? When I say money is tight to stop going out. Money is tight, but I still went out. Money is tight to just get myself a walking pad. Money is tight to upgrade from normal food to Whole Foods. Money is tight to get a mentor. I gave myself this excuse, But you know how much money I was spending at the bars? You know how much money I was spending on clothes to make me look good? What really would make me look good is building a physique. I was spending money on bullshit. It's not that I didn't have money. I just wasn't willing to stop spending money on shit that wasn't going to move my life forward, right? You already spend more escaping with the pain than solving it. At least in my case, I did. I was spending plenty of money on escaping the pain, right? Even like video games. Video games were a big vice for me because it took me out of reality, right? But the real cost came down to staying stuck. And what's the cost of looking the same next year? Is it worth you giving up the bottle for a little bit? Is it worth you stopping buying all those clothes? Whatever it is for you, you got to ask yourself these questions. Life is busy. Okay, well, this is really you just waiting for conditions to change, external conditions, right? But what's the real problem? It's you inside. It's the person you are inside. It has nothing to do with your external. Life won't magically open up a time. If you're waiting for life to get less busy to tackle the thing you need to do, is that to say that life's never going to get busy and that when it does, you're going to give up on your goals? No, it's all BS. And life won't magically open up a time, right? People who win, they create structure in the chaos. This is what me and Sai just went through. She's going through some shit. We created some structure to get her through. Me and Matt, he's going through some shit. We created some structure to get him through. Busy doesn't mean you give up, right? So we all have the same amount of time. Other people just use it better or more efficiently than you if you're struggling with time right now. That's why I always say, go to the Google Calendar module and build out your calendar. But busy or not, the sand still falls, man. The hourglass still goes, right? And there's the last one. There's two more. I don't want to fail again. This was so big for me. Protecting an ego. Like a great way to give an example is I used to be afraid to talk to girls, but I wasn't afraid of them saying no. I wasn't afraid of feeling embarrassed. I was afraid of what that would mean for my ego. It was my ego I was protecting. It wasn't the actual objection. Right? So this is why people don't commit to their fitness goals. This is why people don't commit to starting that business. It's because if you fail, your ego is going to crumble with it. And you've been holding on to this ego that's holding you back, right? So with fitness, a lot of the times, it's not that you failed. You probably just had a flawed system. Like Brandon, he's not a failure. He just has a shitty system. You don't have structure or identity. You got to get clear on what you want from life, right? You got to figure out what identity you're trying to become. And then finding ways to hold yourself accountable. Or getting a mentor, whatever it is, tracking inputs, things that will actually hold you accountable, right? The only real failure is staying the same. That's the only failure. Because anytime you fail at something or don't succeed, you now have data. You have data to say, okay, this didn't work. Let me try it a different way. That's not failure. Failure is when you give up. And then I want to start something when I have more discipline. This is complete backwards thinking because discipline is built through tiny little consistent action. That's how the discipline actually gets built. It's not something that you wait for, and then action builds confidence. Confidence breeds consistency. Consistency gets results. You're not going to wait to feel confident. You're not going to wait to build discipline. You have to decide, right? So the man you want to become, the woman you want to become, takes action before he or she's ready. Now, this is called a paradigm. I talked about paradigms. This is actually what it looks like in a visual. It's the cycle that keeps you stuck. You have a thought, leads to an emotion. Emotion leads to action. Action leads to result, reinforced paradigm. I like the genetics example. You think you can't get in good shape because you have bad genetics. So that leaves you to feel unmotivated, feel disconnected. So when you take action, you're doing a half-ass because subconsciously you don't even think you could do it. So you taking that half-ass action gets you the shit result you keep getting. And then you say, see, I knew it was my genetics. No, it's that you thought it was your genetics. Because if you were convicted that you can overcome those genetics, you'd feel good. You feel motivated. So when you took action, you take it with careful intention. You take it with confidence, which would actually get you the result. And you'd say, see, I knew I could beat the genetics. Now apply that to anything in life. Now here's like one of the biggest paradigms people stay stuck in. You have a desire. I want to get better. I want to start this. I want to do that. But then you have fear. You have delay, which leads to avoidance. And then you hate yourself for not doing it when things get out of control. And then the confidence goes even lower, which leads to more delay. You see the cycles? Everything in life is cycles. So your life changes when you change. That's really the message here. You don't rise to your goals. I know Will always says, you don't rise to your goal, you fall to your standards. I like to say you don't rise to your goal, you fall to your identity. You fall to who the fuck you think you are, right? And the version of you who has your dream body, whatever dream life you have, he or she already exists because you could see it in your mind. Like I said before, you're just not acting like that person yet. That's it. So identity shifts through action. Act like that person. Do what that person would do. One habit a day. Don't worry about perfection and showing up daily daily builds the confidence and it rewires your subconscious to believe in yourself. Build trust with yourself and the results follow. You have this. You shouldn't think, oh no, I don't have this. No, I have this. What am I going to do with it? Right? Focus on what you do have. The sand is falling. We're all running out of time. We got one shot at this thing, right? Your future self is begging you to stop wasting your life. I don't know what this means to you. I hope this spoke to you guys in one way or another, but every year you wait, it steals the body, steals the confidence, steals the life that you know you can have now because you can see it in your mind. And the right time doesn't exist only now. And most men, women, they die with regret because they waited instead of acted. So your life changes the moment you decide. And I just wanted to put this little picture because this was like Thanksgiving with my family. My family is what drives me, man. My family is my motive. And every day I fall short of myself, I feel like I'm falling short of my family. Because men, my belief is we are the windshield our family looks through to see what's possible. If no one in my family is in great shape, right? But if I could do it, it inspires them. I had my grandparents eating whole foods, which they don't do. I brought my grandma to the gym. My mom's asking me for tips to be healthier. My cousins, that would never happen if it wasn't for me. So if you can't do all these things I said for yourself, put someone else there. Do it for someone that you love and that you care about. I hope this presentation was helpful for you, brother. I hope it gave you clarity. If it did, man, just hit me back in the DMs. Let me know what you took away from this video. But please take action on this, bro. The moment, the clarity, everything you want comes after the action, not before. So lock the fuck in. 2026 is your year, bro. Let's go.